Hey there, good Sunday morning. It's June 14th. I'm Storm Tracker meteorologist Alexis Clemens with NBC Connecticut in our weather lab. I wanted to talk about the chance for some storms tonight because it's a very interesting setup. So let me go ahead and get right into it. And of course, if you have any questions, please ask away and let me know what you're thinking. So here's a look at our current setup here. We've got a nice cold front. It's been providing some severe weather already over parts of the Midwest and the Great Plains. Now that system just slowly inching towards us. And you'll notice, if we go ahead and zoom in on Connecticut, we've got a couple of clouds here and there, but more widespread cloud cover is not too far away. So we are going to see that cloud cover increase through the day today. I do want to point out our dew point temperatures are a little bit higher. So to give you a baseline here, the 50s was what the dew point was yesterday. That's very comfortable, very nice to exist in, if you will. The low to mid 60s, well, that's not terrible, but it's not great. You can feel it, right? And it's going to provide a small little heat index. On Friday, if you recall, disgusting humidity, and the dew point was in the 70s. So the 60s is right in the middle, right? You can feel the moisture, but it's not as debilitating as what we saw on Friday. So that's going to lead to a small heat index and temperatures. It's not even 10:30 in the morning, the time I'm doing this, and it's already 82 degrees in Willimantic, Meriden, 84 in Chester, 81 in Hartford and Windsor Locks, 80 in Norwich and Stonington. So we're already off to a warm start, and I do think those temperatures are going to warm up very quickly. And your forecast shows that we could even be approaching that 90-degree mark. It wouldn't surprise me if a couple towns are able to do it this afternoon, but you'll notice more cloud cover on the way. Look at the wind as well there out of the south up to 20, 25 miles an hour. Be prepared for a little bit more of a breezy day out there. Especially this afternoon and evening with more of that cloud cover, even a little more of that mugginess in the air as well. Then tonight is where it's a little interesting. You'll notice on this specific forecast, it's really giving the thunderstorm activity after 11 p.m. That is very likely. However, we're also monitoring the chance for a couple of little isolated storms before that. So let me go ahead and show, and we'll show a couple different model runs just to show you that there's a little bit of inconsistency here. But what I'm thinking, once this wants to load for us here, what I'm thinking is we're going to see that cloud cover increase through the day, right? Then, yes, the chance for, here, let me go back to that. The chance for a couple little spot showers and storms possible after about 6 p.m. or so. For the most part, it's fairly dry through the daylight hours today. And then here comes the majority of this system here, right? Some heavy rain at times, and it's out of here very quickly. So that's one specific model run, but I want to show you another. And I see some questions, so I will answer those in just a second. Let me just go ahead and make sure that I can show you this other thing. The question I can answer that I'm happy to answer. When does it cool down and when we have less humidity? Tomorrow. Tomorrow looks fantastic. Tuesday even looks great as well. We're talking Tuesday morning, we could see temps dropping into the upper 40s for some of us. So yeah, really going to be cooling down. So it's just today and tonight. That's not the nicest, but low humidity temperatures in the 70s Monday and Tuesday. I'm very much okay with that. It is the final week of school for a lot of people, in Connecticut. And Monday and Tuesday look fantastic. Wednesday, some rain chances, but if you have a half day or anything like that, it should be okay. It's because the rain chance is late. So here's what another model run is showing here. So there's that increasing cloud cover. Okay, once we head towards 6 p.m., maybe a spot shower or storm or two, and those could pack a little bit of a punch. But the bulk of this system, this is what we're tracking here. And I'll tell you that each model run has been just slowly pushing this a little bit further into the night. Like this specific model run doesn't want it to be really raining hard until closer to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And it keeps pushing it later and later and later. That's a good thing. The later this system rolls through, the less likely it's going to have the energy to really pack a punch with strong to severe storms. So, any forecast for July? I can absolutely look that up for you. I'll tell you right now, the end of June is actually trending on the cooler side. So good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. I don't know about you. This morning is just kind of dragged on. It's been kind of slow, but the Knicks won. So that was really exciting, right? So it was really awesome. It was really awesome. Yeah, it was a good morning though. We had a good time this morning. The forecast for July, I know that, like I said, the end of June, and here I can even find that forecast for you. End of June actually is trending a little bit cooler. That's kind of what we're looking at for the last half of June. So temperatures are in the 70s tomorrow and Tuesday. I'm thinking the 70s, low 80s are pretty likely for a little while. So looks really great there for sure. Let me see if I can just search this. Somebody said they're in the Poconos for the race, worried about tonight camping here. Yeah, unfortunately, the storms do look worse the further west that you go, especially like in Pennsylvania. So just make sure you're staying up to date with the forecast there. Of course, that's the most important thing that you could do. Yeah, so that's what you see on your screen right now is the cooler than average conditions there. And that kind of seems to be we're not seeing any big, like the 90s anytime soon. That's not in the forecast right now. So hopefully that sticks around because I'm a big fan of the 70s and 80s. Ben, he says, what are your thoughts on severe weather overnight tonight? It's always hard to get thunderstorms going at night, right? And like I said, the later that the system rolls on through, the less energy it's going to have to work with. So if we can get a couple little pop-up storms ahead of that, before the sun sets, yeah, that could be isolated issues, right? But if these storms don't want to come through until closer to 11 p.m. tonight, they're not going to have a whole lot to work with. So that would be good news for us. We don't want severe weather. We've had enough of it these last couple of days, right? I hope you were able to enjoy Saturday. Yesterday was, I thought, absolutely gorgeous, like the perfect pool or beach day, right? Today it's a little more humid for sure. I want to also show you this graphic that I made that I think kind of tells the story of what we're looking at here. So as it populates, you'll see the future radar popping up here. Here they are. Yeah. So you can see with this specific model run here, it does want to keep those storms going. But again, the later into the night, the less energy they're going to have. But I do think some of the storms tonight are definitely built enough to, provide some really heavy rain. You likely will wake up to this stuff in the overnight hours, especially if you're a light sleeper. Yeah, when this is coming through at midnight or 1 a.m., you might wake up to it. So just preparing you now for this storm chance here. But here is the latest that we're kind of thinking with this system. So isolated evening storms are going to be possible after about 6 p.m. Isolated is the key word here. Remember how on Thursday and Friday, some of us saw some pretty nasty storms, but other places did not. That's again possible. I do think the isolated evening storm threat though is getting a little bit lower. So, but scattered storms are more likely after about 9, 10 p.m. And like I said, I've been monitoring our model runs, and it keeps pushing it further and further back. So we might not see some really heavy rain and storms, some of us, like near the I-91 corridor, until after about midnight or so. So it's an interesting setup for sure. The worst of it will be felt to our west. They've got damaging winds possible, and for us here tonight, loud storms tonight with thunder. Timing is everything. I always say this, right? And let me back up so you can see this. So the timing is everything here, because we've got quite a large level 2 risk for severe weather that stretches from like Quebec all the way down to like Atlanta, Georgia. Just about all of New York State and Pennsylvania under this risk. That includes Jersey, Vermont, Delaware, and Maryland there. And the reason why is the system wants to move through in the afternoon hours. If you can get storms to move and somebody's asking, what day is this for? This is for later today. This is really for late this evening into the overnight hours. So Sunday night, June 14th is when we're tracking this here. Any storms, especially this time of year, the best time for them to move through, for them to be the strongest, is going to be in the afternoon, maybe early evening hours. And that's when this cold front wants to push through. Or let me show this one. This cold front wants to push through, right? And that would be for Pennsylvania, New York State, like the Binghamton area, that kind of thing, right? And it pushes through. The later it moves in for us, the better off we are, because the storms won't have a lot of energy to work with. That being said, you could still wake up to some stronger storms overnight. They might not just be as strong as they could be, if that makes sense. But I do think you can expect some rain, and even some heavy rain at times, some lightning and thunder tonight. I would say roughly between about 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. Up until that point, though. So if you're out and about enjoying your Sunday, right? Enjoy it, obviously. But by about 6 p.m., maybe just check your phone just to see what the radar looks like. Let's see if we've got a couple little isolated storms popping up ahead of that the cold front there. If you don't see anything, then that's good. That's good stuff. But we do expect more rain after about 10 p.m. Good morning, Alexis. Any idea on total rainfall amounts, where it will be most and where it would be most severe? Absolutely. I can tell you that right now. So let me go ahead and grab this graphic for us. Let's see if it wants to do that. Yeah. So I would say roughly we could get some heavy rain out of this system, about a half an inch to an inch. And if a thunderstorm rolls over, your region, that could always lead to locally higher amounts. But I would say a half an inch to an inch for much of the state is expected. For where it's going to be most severe, I hate to do this to you again, but Western Connecticut, you're kind of in the brunt of it, right? You have, if you're closer to the New York border, you're going to have a better chance for those storms, because they're going to roll in earlier, right? And we're expecting that threat to diminish the further east that you go. Because if I go back to our threat for severe weather, you can see that level 2 risk that stretches very far. I really do think, let me see if I can grab this little arrow. Is this it? Yes. So I really think from like Buffalo down through like central Pennsylvania, central Virginia, central North Carolina, that seems to be the biggest threat here. Maybe even over towards the Philly region, but it might stay kind of west of Philly. That seems to be the bullseye of this system. So we're kind of on the edge of it here. And the timing, again, is everything. So overnight, nobody likes probably storms that are overnight. You can't see them. They're waking you up in the middle of the night, but they're less likely to have as much energy as they could. Their potential dies down quite a bit. And you can even see that we've got a level 2 risk for Western and Central Connecticut. That includes the I-91 corridor. And then it drops to a level 1 risk for the rest of Connecticut, the eastern half of the state. So I want to compare this to like Friday, right? And Thursday. Not everybody saw storms those days, right? Especially Eastern Connecticut, hardly saw anything at all. This system is different because I do think all of us will wake up to some rain on the pavement tomorrow morning. And you could even wake up overnight to some of that lightning and thunder. And like I said, there could be a couple of stronger storms overnight, but I'm also going to be watching any little stragglers that pop up ahead of this system after about 7 p.m. or so. So that's what we're watching here. It's not I'll be honest with you, it's not the biggest threat, which is good. That's great. I don't think it's as bad as what some of us saw on Thursday and Friday. However, it's a cold front that is packing quite a bit of energy, right? So we always just have to keep an eye on it. We'll have to keep an eye on it through the overnight hours. So that's what we're tracking for you here. And I think you're going to like the forecast for tomorrow. If you're a fan of the 70s, it's a great decade, of course, and great temperatures as well, right? So your forecast shows for tomorrow, mid-70s, not too bad at all, right? A lot of sunshine, a couple clouds here and there, nice little breeze out of the northwest, but keeping things on the cooler side. So once that cold front rolls through, you'll hear it likely overnight and you'll feel it tomorrow. I also want to point out this, as I pull up your 10-day forecast, I want you to pay attention to Tuesday morning's temperature. So Monday night and Tuesday morning, 52 degrees. That's going to feel pretty refreshing Tuesday morning. And yeah, we've talked about how, a lot of kids are finishing up school this week, right? I think Wednesday is a lot of kids' last day. But Tuesday, you might even want to grab a jacket heading off to school because some temperatures could drop into the upper 40s, low 50s there, 70s each afternoon. So while we've been feeling a lot like summer these last couple of days, it technically still is late spring. So it's going to feel more like late spring Monday and Tuesday. First day of summer this year actually coincides with Father's Day. So I think that's interesting that Father's Day is on the longest day of the year. Do the dads want that? I don't know. You'll have to let me know. I'll have to ask Bob Maxon. I'm sure he would have some input there. But temperatures will be able to lift back into the low 80s by the middle of the week. I'll tell you right now, Monday and Tuesday look great. Wednesday, okay. Chance for some rain late in the day. Thursday does look gross. Low 80s for temps, so not as warm as what we saw, this weekend and last week. But with that rain chance, it's going to be pretty muggy. You'll feel that humidity on Thursday. Right now, next weekend, holiday weekend with Juneteenth, Father's Day, first day of summer, looking all right. We all know that can change. I do expect temperatures, though, to be seasonal to start the new season of summer officially. I'm not excited about the decreasing daylight. That's the part I'm not a fan of. But summer is fun, I will say. This is great. You guys asked a lot of great questions. I'll wrap it up real quick, just with the final thoughts of this system. And of course, as always, you can always let us know if you have any other questions by commenting, emailing us, whatever it might be. You can find us on social media, of course, everywhere. But again, this is the breakdown of this system as it populates in here. Isolated evening storms. Isolated means only a couple areas. Most of us stay dry, but a couple areas could see a strong storm roll on through this evening. For the most part, though, we're fairly dry until later tonight. After about 9 or 10 p.m. or so, might be a little bit loud by the midnight hour and into tomorrow morning. We are expecting, about a half an inch to an inch of that rainfall here. Those scattered storms, the later in the night these storms roll through, the less energy they've got to work with. However, I think the cold front that it's moving with will provide enough energy to maybe wake you up in the middle of the night. So make sure you got your phone right. Just make sure you've got your alerts on, that you're able to hear them in case a couple of storms go south, right? That's what we're watching. Damaging winds are the most likely threat for us, with some loud storms tonight and thunder. I do expect at least all of us to see at least a little bit of that rainfall there. So thank you. Oh, I'm not Ryan. Sorry. I forget how this thing works sometimes. Thank you all so much for joining us today. It's Sunday, June 14th. We always appreciate all of you, and we appreciate the questions that you have, and we're here to answer them to the best of our ability. We'll also have some updates on FIFA World Cup forecast, because first games in New York and Boston were yesterday, and they looked like a lot of fun. I think the next games in both New York and Boston are on Tuesday. They're on Tuesday. And Thursday, we should be getting some information on the Knicks victory parade. So that'll be really fun as well. And of course, we'll keep you updated with later on this week with the first day of summer, the weekend, holiday weekend forecast, all that stuff. So have a great rest of your Sunday. It's time for me to get a little nap, and then we'll keep you updated on air and online through this afternoon, evening, and tonight as well. Have a good day.